Hi, I'm Letitia Sanchez, and I am just going to go over my summary for Fahrenheit 451. And it's a book written by Ray Bradbury. It's a dystopian novel about a futuristic society where books are burned because they are illegal, because the society doesn't want people to think freely or question things or even feel emotionally. And so they use the firemen to burn the books, and they use this in a way where they kind of like live stream it so that people are controlled, they fear, and they keep quiet. The main character in this book is Guy Montag. He is a firefighter, and in the beginning of the book, he really doesn't think much about his life. He just kind of goes on with his basic routine of things that he does. And he begins to start questioning his life when he meets a young girl named Clarice. She is a very curious person who asks questions. She thinks freely, and she asks him the question, "Are you happy?" Which is a very small but powerful question. And it kind of strikes a nerve in Guy, and he kind of can't like shake the question out of his mind, like, am I happy? And what does it mean to him? And then eventually throughout the book, he realizes that the answer to the question is he's not happy, and he realizes that he's just been kind of going through the motions and doesn't really even know why he goes through the motions. Eventually, when he's burning these books, he ends up stealing a couple of them and starts to read them. And obviously, they start making him think about things. And it really becomes like he starts like asking questions. He starts thinking about like what things would be like outside of what they know, because now that he's got knowledge of something outside of the normal, he starts questioning that. And in the book, a real turning point for him is when he sees a lady and she chooses to die and essentially get burned with her books because she would rather go with them than to not have them. And so in the book, he ends up meeting up with a guy named Farber, who is a professor, who really just explains to him the importance of books and what they represent, which is basically like ideas, truth, life in general, all the different ways of thinking, the things of life and stuff like that. And so he eventually decides that he wants to fight against the government control now that he's got, a free thinking mind. And then he ends up meeting this group called the Book People. And they have each picked a book and memorized it cover to cover to keep the book alive, to keep its knowledge, to tell people about these books. Excuse me. And eventually the city ends up in war and it's destroyed, and Guy finally realizes that he has to help the Book People rebuild the city and rebuild it with the knowledge that they have from these books, which contain history, knowledge of like just everything throughout life. And so it ends up changing him and the society as a whole in the end.